Welcome to Football or Soccer, the podcast. I'm Sam Palmer.
Christopher Dyson.
Anthony Tafe. Antonio Francesco, whatever the French name version is.
And apologies for our last episode, everyone, but Tony had a couple of wines.
One or two.
That's why it was a bit argumentative, wasn't he?
It was a little bit
Was
punchy,
that?
wasn't
You
it,
know what?
Otto?
I actually don't even remember.
Bit punchy, but he was celebrating in France. Liverpool had won the league. He was a bit on a high, so we're going to let you off on that one, but we're going to have to get to HR and give him a little bit of a written warning,
I
aren't
think
we?
so. Yellow card.
It
Yeah.
wouldn't be the first one. It wouldn't be the first one.
But how are we all, chaps? It's nice to actually all be back together. And
Isn't it great? I know. How was London, Sam?
do you know what? It was lovely. Do you know, it's so weird. When London is in the sun, it is the
Doesn't get
best
any better,
place on
does it?
earth. Like, it is
Yeah.
literally the best place on earth. The mood just goes up. Everyone's like, do you want to go in a beer garden? The food was incredible. Do you know what? Like, it's funny. Like, I ate, and that's where you should see the difference between American food and English food. I ate pretty badly in London,
Yeah.
but did not put as much weight on.
Sam,
And I ate a lot of bread and things like that in restaurants. And here, if I'd have eaten like that, I would have put on 3 stone.
it's absolutely insane that you said that. On the way here, I was thinking, never, like even, maybe I don't weigh myself, so I don't know whether I'm lighter or heavier.
But you know, when with your clothes, and they get a bit tighter, don't they?
You feel it. Like when you're like,
You feel heavy.
yeah,
bloated.
you know, we were back at the same time, and whenever I eat in Europe, no matter where it is, really, for a week, I just feel like I've got an extra spring in my step. Whereas if I ate the same here in any city, New York, LA, Scottsdale, wherever, you feel like shit if you
I
eat.
have a theory about that, Toe, you see. I mean, the food chain here is poison, honestly, for
Yeah.
the most part.
Well, it's banned most places in the world.
It really is. And I tell you, I think because America's such a big country, like geographically, logistically,
Yeah.
and because food is such a big business, like food obviously spoils. They've got to pump it full of all sorts of crap
To get across
to
country.
make sure it'll stay up there, so it stays on the shelves. So it's got to get from A to B, and then it's got to stay there. And
With that sounding like I've got a tinfoil hat on, do you think the health insurance companies have anything to do with that?
Well, the tobacco companies are a big part of the food, aren't they?
where to throw that grenade in there, Toe?
So
Oh, really though? Like
this is actually a football
It is a
podcast, not a
football.
food podcast. But it is a difference between America and the UK. I want to start actually before we go into Champions League.
Yes is the answer, Toe.
We've
There you
had
go.
some amazing Champions League. I want to start with something that I finally noticed at West Ham this week. I went to West Ham Spurs.
Your rants have been unbelievable this
The
week.
official change, and to the point of, and I didn't realise I've actually noticed it for a while.
Yeah.
But it really hit home at Spurs. Now, yes, West Ham Spurs are both doing badly, right? So there's not much to get up for that game. But I was telling the kids before, right, we're going to Spurs today. It's war. It's going to be like a war. You're not going to feel the atmosphere. Honestly, I walked there to the ground. It was just like a normal old
Tepid.
walk. Tepid wasn't even a thing. There wasn't even a chant of any sort. Really? There was no guys with a hood
Angst.
up. You know, like there was always that with, oh, you better not go down that way, or you better go keep that way. There was away and home fans walking past each other. And then when I got in the ground, it really hit me. And it was funny. Before the game, I was in the hospitality, which I do think is a big part of all this.
Yeah.
And listen, I'm part of it, so I'm not saying it's wrong or whatever
Mr.
like
Prawn
that.
Sandwich over there.
So I was in there with a guy, my mate Ozzy, who's been a West Ham season ticket holder for 41 years.
Yeah.
And we was discussing it. He said, how bad is it out, like, the atmosphere? And the game hadn't even started yet. And I went, I just was thinking exactly the same. And he went, yeah, he said, it's gone. He said, but look in here. He said, how many West Ham fans do you think actually are in here? And I was looked, and he said, Sam, you know, if we go away, how many do you know? And I say, well, 70%.
Yeah.
He said, how many do you know in here? I said, you. Wow. And you notice it. And then when you sit in the seat, yes, I'm in hospitality, but Americans, Japanese, and because we're in London, I suppose, we get it now as well. And Spurs, there was all Spurs fans sitting between us, all sort of vocal that they were Spurs fans, which would never happen over West Ham.
Let me ask you this, Dick Advocate, or Devil's Advocate. So is it because of prices? And has the prices got to go higher because the economics are different in the game now and they have to charge more to be able to compete and everything else?
It was the first time I realised that the working man isn't coming anymore. They can't do it. They can't afford it. You probably noticed it more because I've heard this about Liverpool as well. But what you probably got, Tone, outside the ground was the real fans.
It was amazing. I mean,
inside you get a lot of the tourists.
In my little brother was inside with his boy, and it was amazing inside as well. But on the average game, yeah. Obviously,
listen, West Ham Spurs, there weren't much to sing about, but I've been to West Ham and Spurs when we've both been terrible, both looking like we're going down 4, and the atmosphere was electric. It was so flat and dull.
The fact that Spurs are a whisker away from winning their first trophy in God knows how long, every game should be electric for them now. It should be the beginning of the start, with the culmination being hopefully them winning the whatever the fuck it's called these days, the UEFA Cup, the Europa League.
Europa Cup.
Yeah. So,
Europa League.
But every single game for Spurs now should be nuts. They should.
Yeah, it's funny. So moving on, I want to just go on to that before we go in the Champions League. Did you see Amorim's comments this week?
Yeah.
Which ones?
What, that he said they can't do it?
No, when he said we'd be the worst team to ever win, to be in the Champions League.
Did he say that?
And I think that is...
see that, actually.
And I saw a clip of Stick to Football this week of Roy and that talking about it. Basically, what he's saying is, well, you're okay to lose. You can't go out and beat Bournemouth at home or whatever, but you got to get up because you got to get up for this. He said, why can't you play 2 games in a week? He said, this is ridiculous. Saying, we can't do this. The league's gone. And he said, what about next year when you got the Champions League and you got league you got to go for? He said,
it's true, but I do think there's a different way to look at that, and I think Amorim is seeing what's gone before him from Moyes, basically, and the expectation has been so high, and he knows, as we all do, United are not ready for the Champions League. So
no, I do. I definitely agree with that. They're not.
It's one
they're
thing knowing
awful.
that. It's another thing saying it
to your team.
To your team, exactly,
and your fan base.
I was going to say,
but the alternative is to do the same as what all the
just
other
don't say anything, Tom.
Yeah,
just don't say anything. This
he
is
was
such
obviously
an odd
asked
thing
a
to
question.
say.
I'm sure he didn't
just
just come out and say it.
I don't know what he's trying to gain with that.
No, he said we are. If we win the Europa, we'll be the worst team to qualify for the Champions League, which is right because it's maybe worst team ever to qualify for the Champions League.
Maybe he's trying to take the pressure off.
Without a doubt.
That's what I'm saying. I think that's what he's doing, Chris. I think that's exactly.
That says to your team that you're the worst team ever, and that it's okay to lose games in the week in the league. You're going to finish bottom of the league, basically. Manchester United. To be in, I know what he's saying. We're finishing bottom, and it is true. You will be the worst team that's ever qualified for Champions League. Yeah. And to be honest with you,
I saw Arsene Wenger's comments this week
saying it's stupid letting these teams into Champions League. But usually, a team that qualifies, that wins it, would not finish bottom of the league. So
what he said was basically what I said last week, but just in a more diplomatic way. When I mentioned
sober way.
The week before, the 60-year-old girl who you see in the club who used to be the fittest girl in the club.
Oh, yeah.
He said exactly the same thing, just in a more diplomatic way.
Not quite
They're
exactly
not ready
the same,
for it. They don't belong there.
Yeah, it's a weird... I just thought it was... Here you go. We can be the worst team in Premier League history with a European title. See, that's a damning...
Is that a direct quote?
Direct quote from
direct quote.
Ruben Amorim, right? And I just think that is an odd thing to say. I wouldn't be having faith in that man.
I'm going to give him the benefit of the doubt. It's a second language. He's probably trying to say, obviously, they've finised the lowest position in the league.
And he's not happy about that. Yeah, listen, he's not happy where they are, obviously. But I do think he is not the man for that job. I really don't. He's shown nothing.
I like him, Shan. I do, and
But
but I
because they're rubbish.
also liked Arteta when everybody was giving him shit, and I do. I think he's good. Actually hope he doesn't succeed, obviously, but I think he's good. I do.
We'll see. Next year you can judge him, but it's funny that these managers now, some managers come in, Potter at West Ham's another one. Oh, you've got to get them their own team. They got to have their own time. How much time? How much time do you have to give people? 6 months
I mean,
to be able to get a result, to win a game of football.
Yeah, Arnie Slot did
6 months. It's a joke.
But that's the exception of the rule, right? Slots. That doesn't happen.
Yeah, but you look at the Pereira, David Moyes.
I don't know.
They've all come in and got results. Like Pereira at Wolves,
Paisley, Fagan, Dalglish.
I think that's a little bit different, Chris, because that was a continuation of the same program. But
Iriola from Bournemouth
anymore.
come in, got results away. Hertzler at Brighton. They've come in.
Encyclopedia.
They've come in and bought results immediately. Yes, I do think some people do need time, without a doubt. But when you're like Graham, I'll use Graham Potter for example. Won 3 games out of 16 or something. That's damning. That is. And there's
what should they win? As a West Ham fan?
Well, you've got to improve on the last guy you've come in from.
Yeah.
And Amorim and Potter are both lower points per game than where they were.
Yeah, that's frightening.
That when you're at a point where you've got to sack your manager because you're at relegation
Especially
form.
listen to how much you hated or was disappointed in the guy before.
Yeah, and this guy is actually worse.
That's frightening.
It's scary. I've got to be honest with you, though. I said it. Me and my friend Oz said it the other day. We would both like to see West Ham go down to the Championship now to get that to almost clear it out of the club, reset,
but you don't get the money
and have more fun. You know, like going away, like seeing real football grounds again. It is funny because I was never against the London Stadium, but on last Saturday I realised what everyone was talking about with these bland, because I went Spurs the other day. They're bland. They're just big stadiums, and I did like that.
Is the Spurs? I've never been. Is it? Because that's meant to be the best stadium in
gorgeous,
the league.
but it
from an atmosphere standpoint,
Tottenham. Like you go in there, I would have done their corporate bit there, but because they do boxing, they do NFL and all that. There's nothing Spurs on the wall. Oh, wow. It's like an airport lounge when you walk in there. Oh, really? Nothing. Like all there is at the front desk, there's like 3 trophies, and one of them's an old ball. I said, "Oh, is that the old trophy cabinet?" Yeah, there's an FA Cup. There's something, couple of trophies, and then when you go up into the corporate areas, they're like white walled. Doesn't even say Tottenham anywhere. Wow. And I think that's weird that they done that because it's like West Ham's at least got West Ham everywhere. They put it around the pitch. It feels like West Ham's ground, but. I get what people were saying. If you go from a 40,000 to a 65,000 seater stadium, you've got to pack it with probably foreigners, and the prices go up, and we didn't really see it coming. And I thought when we get a big stadium, we'll get bought and we'll be able to challenge. But that all comes at a price, I think.
How much do they want for it?
I don't know. Yeah, but it'll be double what it's worth. That's why it's not sold, I would think, because it is weird why someone hasn't bought West Ham.
I was going to say, with that stadium, London club, great fan base.
And what's weird is we sell it out every single week, and we are bottom of the league. Like that is a crazy stat. But anyway, that's enough of that. We're moving on. Champions League. Let's start with the best game.
That was insane, wasn't it?
Barcelona versus Inter Milan at San Siro.
Superb.
Crazy. You'd be gutted if you were Barca, wouldn't you?
Yeah.
Away.
Yeah.
Inter had a dark horse this year, haven't they? No one spoke about them at all, have they?
Yeah.
No, but Barcelona were the better team, weren't they? But Inter Milan.
I don't think that was probably the best game of football I've seen for years.
In a long time.
And for the neutral as well, I think it's disappointing not to see the kid Yamal in the final because I mean he's outrageous, isn't he? Absolutely out. He's the next thing.
He did make a mistake, and I don't. If you're a Barca fan, you go mad at it in the last minute or whatever it was, where he doesn't hold it into the corner.
That's what they said.
And he shoots, and he hits the post, and then it comes up, and then they put the old centre half up top, and he gets the goal. It had everything that game, didn't it?
But you know what, though? It's difficult to criticize a 17-year-old in that situation
But
for
also,
making that mistake.
we can't criticize because we're also criticizing that we don't see the flamboyant player anymore. Well, that's what you get with
Exactly.
that. So,
yeah.
True.
Good point.
Yeah.
maybe learning, he'll learn, maybe take it in the corner, but that's not his way. And you kind of and he nearly scored. It was like he hit the post. So he's fantastic.
Superb.
He looks like the next guy, doesn't he?
He is the next guy, isn't he?
Yeah.
I don't see a situation where he isn't the next guy.
The right back, Denzel Dumfries. What a player for Inter Milan.
Both of their fullbacks are really good. Actually, both of Barcelona's fullbacks are amazing as well.
Yeah.
They're really good teams. But I do think I always had a soft spot for Barcelona since I was a kid. I went to the new camp when I was a kid. And I've always had a soft spot for Barcelona, and I actively dislike Real Madrid. So
see, I'm more of a Madrid man, I think. What are you?
I'm definitely not a Madrid man. They fucking marmalised us. Anytime I've gone to it, I'm not going to go to any more European Cup finals. The two I've been to has been against them, and they've done us twice. So no, I'm definitely not a Real Madrid fan.
No, I always like that white kit.
Oh, no,
it just looks regal, doesn't it? Like there's something about that white.
I mean, it's what they call
the arrogance of playing in a white kit with mud. Like it's so arrogant.
I mean, look, joking aside, they're the biggest club in the world, and that probably is a decent segue because we've lost Trent, haven't we, this week as well? Me and Toe.
He's done.
So, and without going on about that too much, I don't think you can really blame him.
No, and honestly, I'm seeing some of these things on social media, the snake and all this stuff. I've got to be honest with you, I don't agree with it. I think he's trying something new. Good luck to him. It's nice to see an Englishman go abroad. Not a lot of them do it.
Well, I tell you, one of the things that hasn't been talked about much in the decision-making process, like the guys that stayed, like you look at Virgil, you look at Mo, they're family guys as well. They've got families, got wife, they've got kids, they got settled. I don't think Trent's in a long term. I don't think he's got all that. And look, Liverpool's a great city. It's amazing. But, he probably wants to go and see a bit of it. He's in the prime of his life.
And I think Jude's his best mate as well,
He
isn't
is
he?
as well. I mean, I saw Amir and Nobu, last year. Straight away, I was like, well, that was, last summer when they were off. They were all together.
But, imagine going to play with your best mate, your two young boys,
No, it's mega.
you've got to say.
One of the best cities in the world.
Madrid.
To live, and he's playing for the biggest club. I mean,
learn a new language, everything that we've done. We can't say it. Look, all three of us have travelled abroad.
Yeah, all three of us have done something similar. Yeah. But what I would say is that I hear a lot of people who support different clubs, like Sam, or I was listening to the Stick to Football this morning, and everyone was saying exactly the same, and I don't disagree with it. For me, I just think good on him. I always like to see people from home doing well. I even like to see Wayne Rooney do well when he was doing well, unless it was against Liverpool. But I just don't think if you don't support Liverpool, fucking shut up about it. Because if it was Jarrett Bowen doing it, or it was Man United don't have any good players anymore, but back in the day, if Ryan Giggs did it, don't sit there as a West Ham fan or a Man United fan or a Chelsea fan, or if John Terry did it or Frank Lampard did it, don't tell me nobody would be pissed off.
No, and that's, I think, what it is. That's all it boils down to. Everyone's upset. They've lost a great player.
That's right.
It's made you weaker.
I don't think everybody is. I think most.
No, but ultimately, if you said, would you prefer Trent to every Liverpool fan, they're going to say, yeah.
Of course, yeah. But I do think the majority will say, listen, when it dies down, good on him. Good on him.
Yeah, listen, when it dies down, listen, it stings, it hurts. He's basically saying, I don't want you anymore. And it's the same with Declan Rice when he done it to us. It stings. Yeah. But we want also Liverpool. We have to be realistic. We're a team at the bottom of the league. We're not. No, we've not just won the league and can win the Champions League. And
that's the big difference. Is that when
is he arguably going to a better side? I don't know.
Well, that's not for
sure
at all.
That's the point now, isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah, it is because Madrid haven't won the league this year. They haven't won the Champions League.
So when Michael Owen left, when Steve McManaman left, they weren't to go to the same club. They weren't in a Liverpool team that was doing
No,
They
it
were
wasn't
bang
winning.
average
Yeah.
Liverpool teams. So
Yeah.
I mean, there was really, you couldn't
Might
blame.
win a League Cup or something.
You know,
Yeah.
he's leaving
know
one of
what,
the best Liverpool teams.
Chris, when you say
ever.
McManaman, right? I was probably 11 or something when McManaman left to go to Madrid. He was the first player because I
Bosman.
loved McManaman when I was a
Well,
kid.
he was also, that was the first time, I think, or one of the first Bosman transfers as
It
well.
was. It was
The
the first
first Bosman,
big one.
Was it?
No,
No.
was Michael Hughes to West Ham.
Stato over here.
It was. As I
I'm
said,
pretty
Chris,
certain of that. I don't know.
It was
Google
the
it.
first big one.
I'm almost certain that I know that McManaman wasn't the first, but it was the first Liverpool one. And
It was
I think you
first
remember he was going to get
high-profile
100 grand a week, and which back then was loads. It's loads now, obviously, but I mean, it was unheard of back then. So
Yeah, he was the first high profile one. But what I was saying is, when I was a kid, I loved two players when I was a kid. McManaman and Jamie Redknapp. I loved them both.
yeah.
McManaman was my first.
How cool was Jamie Redknapp?
What's that?
How cool was Jamie Redknapp?
Oh my
That
god!
wasn't.
I want to see Jamie.
Mate,
Redknapp
I was wrong.
with that Barney.
You should see these photos
Oh,
when I was
God.
a kid.
He was the
Big-
first
big-
high profile.
Yeah, with a
Steve
funny
McManaman
head.
was.
Yeah.
It doesn't give a defined answer here.
Jamie Redknapp, for me, was like the first god. How can you be that handsome and that good at football? That's like not fair.
know.
That's just like be one or the other, but to be both,
Yeah.
I was like,
His knee, if it wasn't for his knee injuries, he was for me
Yeah.
was as good
He's
as
a mega
Beckham
player as well,
almost.
and he was
I know
great
that.
for
I
us.
know that's going to sound ridiculous, but he was really good. But anyway, McManaman was the first one who I was devastated when he left. When I was a kid. The second one, I was a grown man, and it was Luis Suarez when he left, just because of the way he ended.
What about Robbie?
I mean,
Robbie.
no.
My hero.
I never wanted to see him leave, and I was so happy when he came back, but not as much. But regardless, the point what I'm trying to make is when Suarez left, and I was probably 29 then. I was a fucking grown man.
Do you remember when Arsenal bid 40 mil on £1?
Yes, I do.
What was that?
I do.
Typical Arsenal, always second.
Stupid things to do. Though.
Do you remember when he had a release clause
yeah.
above 40 million and they went £1?
Yeah, and
And
John
he nearly
Henry
went, didn't he? Because he went and he was training with reserves.
He wanted
Yeah,
to go.
he wanted to go, yeah.
Yeah. And then John Henry did that tweet. What are they smoking over there at the Emirates?
Yeah.
But anyway, after Suarez, I was like, listen, I apart from me being, not a kid anymore, I was like, I don't care about plays. They'll come and go.
I'll tell you.
Liverpool.
So my first, because I'm a little bit older than you, Toe, unfortunately or fortunately, but my first one was, I remember Ian Rush going back in 1980.
Who did he go to? Juventus?
He went to Juventus.
Yeah.
And I remember everyone going, that's the end of it. That's the end of Liverpool. And this is why, yes, I'm disappointed with Trent, but I'm not like losing my
Who
mind.
replaced him? John Aldridge.
John Aldridge
Yeah.
replaced him. And we went on to then and then we got Barnes and we got Beardsley, Ray Hodgson, and that, I think that was the 1990 or 89, 90. And that's up until recently, that was the best, regarded as maybe the best Liverpool team ever.
Yeah, we obviously couldn't.
And then
play
Rushy
him.
came back, obviously.
What's that?
And then he came back.
Yeah,
After that.
I think he spent 2 years at Juve, didn't he?
That's right. So
And
my
then
point is that, yes, they go, like Torres was gutted when he went.
Yeah.
And that was...
Listen,
and he was,
Oh, just
we
quickly, I'm just fact checking myself here because it's driven me mad about Michael Hughes, the Bosman.
Yeah.
Michael Hughes became the Premier League's first Bosman.
well, that's decent.
It wasn't the first ever though. It was a Scottish guy.
Was
and
it?
Edgar Davis and Steve
Well,
McManaman were
the
the first
big ones.
higher profile.
Edgar Davids went on a Bosman.
Yeah, and
What a
as
player
so
he
it
was,
said
by the
on
way.
Google, so whether it's and Steve McManaman were the two same year, 96 were the
Well,
were the-
the actual first one would have been Bosman. I don't
No,
even.
it wasn't. Bosman had finished playing.
He was the one that did the court case, didn't
Yeah.
I know,
He'd
but that's
already
what I'm
finished
saying.
playing.
That he should have been
Surely
able
it
to
was
go
to
for
get
free.
himself to move. No.
No.
He'd already finished playing, hadn't he?
That's right, yeah.
Jean-Marc Bosman.
Why
wasn't
did he?
it?
Why did he bother himself doing that?
Because he sued for it. That's why, because he argued that he should have been able to go. And then I think they went
did
into
he actually
one of the
gain
European
anything
courts
from
and they
it?
voted in his favour, and that's he changed the game. That's why it's called. That's why it's named after him.
It's a
I
great
know
thing
that,
to have it
but
named
did
after
he-
you, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, let's go on. I don't want to chat
Go on.
about This is Liverpool again.
Well, it's not. We've done half of United.
The Arsenal.
We did win the
second
league last
game.
week.
My old mates are Arsenal.
Here we go.
Dry your eyes, mates.
Great song.
What did you think of Arsenal's performance? I've seen Arteta come out with a few bit of bollocks after that.
I'll tell you what was interesting for me. So I watched the Becks and Friends live yesterday with it.
It was good, wasn't it?
What a concept that is, by the way. I mean,
good.
I thought it was mega.
Do you know why I don't like it?
Go on.
Because it's that Americanization of sport again.
Oh,
I realise what we're buying into and what we're going to see more of and what we're. I watched it. I couldn't watch it. I turned it off. I watched the normal game. Not that I didn't want to watch it and don't like the idea of it. I think it's got some actor Stanley Tucci over there and. Yes.
Oh, yeah. Do you know what? The first night, which was the best game, Stanley Tucci and Guy Ritchie clearly are not football fans.
And that's
no idea. No idea. Second night was better because Ralph Fiennes and James Corden. I think they're both. No, one's a Chelsea fan, one's a West Ham fan. But anyway, they knew what they were talking about.
It was their first go at it. And they're going to go, right, chat for 90 minutes. And in that instance,
but they were good.
No, I get. And look, I loved. Look, anytime you get insight from people like David Beckham and Thierry Henry and Carragher, like that's what's great about like these guys being able to give their opinions and insight, stuff that you don't hear. I mean, I'm on the edge of my seat with that stuff. So to have the game going and to be listening to that, I thought that was a feast, honestly.
I enjoyed it.
Going back to, I was surprised with Thierry Henry. Everyone seemed almost resigned that when they were 2-0 down, they were resigned. And they were still 35. One goal, it's 20 seconds. And one goal changes everything. And I was surprised that they were, I expected them to be more hopeful. I thought it was quite telling.
They did.
They were resigned. With 30, 40 minutes to go. And I was like, this can all change like really quick. Yeah. And they all know that, obviously.
Henry said something, and it was like 20 minutes to go, and he was talking about it. He said it's something as though it already happened, like they'd already been knocked out. And I remember thinking, well, there's 20 minutes to go.
Yeah.
But he was right, though. They didn't really come close.
I think last night was finally the death of VAR.
Oh, yeah.
The penalty.
Yeah,
no one.
Oh, that penalty was terrible.
No, that was
the players, the referee, the commentators, the fans.
I thought it was for the one at the other end.
On Saka.
I did too.
Yeah.
I did too.
You said that when you were watching it, this could be a penalty on Saka here, and everyone thought that was what they were going to look at.
And then he points in the other direction. Hang on, what's that?
And it touches his hand.
It was a dreadful
Do you know what
decision.
I'd love to have seen the player do there? And it would have
smack
made
it over the bar or something.
Just smack it to the left in the sand and say that's enough of VAR now. And I think that would have led a revolt.
After how we took that penalty, he might as well have smashed it over the bar.
That was the worst penalty.
One of the worst I've ever seen.
If a player took a penalty like that for me, it's part of the game now. This stupid hop, skips, jumps.
Well, they're trying to get. They're looking at. It was the guy that did it for England in the finals where he's looking at the keeper. Yeah, and so they're obviously trying to see where the keeper goes and who flinches first. And to be fair to the keeper, he stood his ground, didn't he? And he waited and waited. And
it was terrible, wasn't it?
He didn't even do that, though, did he? It's like he ran towards it and then he crouched down. And, it was almost like he was crawling towards not literally, but his back was so...
You've got to give the keeper credit.
Yeah, it was really...
There's no way in the world you're getting any power behind this shot.
No, but you've got to...
David Raya's good penalty save, actually.
You've got to give him credit because he waited. He does that. The striker's doing that to see the keeper make a decision before he does. And he really... And then when he's there and the keeper hasn't moved, he's got no choice but to just pick a side and pass it.
But when there's no power behind it, it's easy for the keeper to...
It's a gamble. It's a gamble. And
it's a gamble, but it was a ridiculous one. I didn't like it at all.
I agree with you.
No, especially in the seventh match, they went out after that.
Yeah.
What about Donnarumma?
What a save.
That's up there, one of the best saves. Yeah. Because, to be honest with you, Arsenal should have been 3-0 up within 7 minutes.
Yeah.
Deck should have scored the header.
Yeah.
Then he makes the save from really close range with the leg, and then that save from Odegaard.
Don't you almost know that when they don't convert from those, you think this might not be our night.
Arsenal were all over them, weren't they, in the first 10 minutes? I've got to say, Arsenal...
You've got to convert. You've got to
were
get something
unlucky.
out of that,
I'm gonna give it. I know I'll give it to Arsenal fans now, but they were unlucky there. But Donnarumma's save, I thought, was insane for how big he is. Apparently, he's not had a good season either.
Did done.
And against Liverpool, and against the first leg against Arsenal as well. So he has really earned his money this year.
When was that Saka chance? Was that the second half? He should have scored as well.
Oh, after he'd scored.
After he'd scored, he put it over from 2 yards
Donnarumma come out, didn't he? Missed it, and then he puts it over the bar. There was only a few minutes left, but that would have been squeaky bum, wouldn't it? It was. I didn't think Saka had a very good game, to be honest. I know he scored.
He's come back from a long layoff, hasn't he?
He hasn't come back like blazing, and that might be he needs a bit of time. And Odegaard as well. I'm looking at him thinking, what are you bringing?
Hasn't he dropped off like crazy?
A lot. And I was listening to a couple of other podcasts, and they all said, listen, the difference was they never had a striker. This is the problem. They've known it for years. They've not done it. And I think that was the difference. Like, really. They didn't have anyone that could take the thing. I thought Rice had a really good game. I thought the two fullbacks, Timber and Skelly, that Skelly's incredible for his age. He gets beat a few times, and he can be a bit rash at times. But I suppose that's like the amount he's 18 years of age.
Yeah, exactly. That's
playing,
exactly
he shouldn't be playing in that game.
What it is,
You know,
credit to him.
James Corden actually was commenting on that to that point, and I think he did make a good point in that they don't have that striker that's going to give you 20, 25 goals a year. No. And that's in that is the absolute difference. And he sat next to Thierry going, you were that guy. And, you know, we've got Salah, obviously, and, you know, you can go on down the list. But the fact they don't have that, how have they not bought that? Like, how?
And that is down to
it's like
Arteta's stubbornness. Is it? I'd like to know, is it the club saying we're not going to buy it? Because, listen, they've spent 100 mil on Rice. Yeah. So they've spent money. They've spent money all over. They went and signed Calafiori for 40 or whatever it was. They've gone and bought players all around.
Do you not think that's why Edu left? Because
maybe.
I mean, Edu was the main man when it came to transfers. And I know there was a big thing about Forest poached them because they got the multi-club business model and all that kind of stuff. But I don't think he's done that good. I don't think he did that good, Edu.
But you don't know if it's the manager saying, I don't need one. Because listen, they spent 65 mil on Havertz. They've spent money. I think the rest of this season is going to be a bit of a... Because Arsenal have got the chance. Arsenal could finish out the top 5. Like their running's not the easiest, and this could be a hangover. I don't think it will. Yeah. But even if City nip them into second and they've come third in a 2-horse race,
yeah, that would be terrible if that happens for Arsenal. Yeah,
because I know a lot of Arsenal fans that he's saying trust the process, right? It's 6 years now. How long's the process?
What do you think happens?
I don't know. I can understand why some are frustrated because obviously every Arsenal fan in the world knows they need a striker. In actual fact, every fan in the world knows they need a striker. What you would say is it's got to be down to the manager's stubbornness of not playing. Like yesterday, at the end of the game, brings on Ben White, a right back, rather than bringing on Sterling. Like, just go for it. Like, that's almost a Moyes. It's funny that he played under Moyes, but that is a Moyes sub of like, let's shore it up at the back because Timber's lagging a little bit. But what does it matter? You got 5 minutes to go. Just go hell for leather. Stick the centre halves up front like Inter Milan did. Yeah. And if you lose 4-1 or win, it's shit or bust, isn't it? But I think that's the Arsenal fans' worry. Obviously, I've seen a lot of reports today saying about they put too much emphasis on throws and corners. Like, you've got to be more than that. And that's a bit... I wonder if this has come from the teachings of Moyes, because he played under him for many years at Everton. And because he wouldn't have seen that under Wenger, like emphasis on throws and
I think he might have taken more from Guardiola, mate. I'll be honest with you.
Pep's not a big man on that, throws and corners. And yeah, look, there can be the decision.
People
But
have
when
found him out on that because remember at the first half of the season, it was almost like every set piece they scored.
yeah, they put murals of the stupid set piece
Right,
tapes
but
on
then,
the wall.
yeah, exactly. But then people get wise to it. There's only so many different ways you can do a set piece, and when you know a team is over reliant on it, it's you know,
Defendable.
It's all good keeping a
all these
ball.
Premier League managers are small fellas. You know, they'll get wise to it pretty quickly.
Yeah, exactly. And they know to put an extra man back or whatever, like whatever it is.
Whatever it
the
is.
double up on Saliba or Gabriel, like whatever the thing is. Because look, the delivery is great, but so I can understand the Arsenal fans' frustration. 6 years, one FA Cup. Arteta's saying that he had more points than Liverpool last 2 years. But actually,
you know what?
They put it on Sky Sports and they put them at the same time each of this year. Of like the same games, and Liverpool have more points than on both.
He's an idiot. Do you know what? I've always defended him, and you've seen me defend him, Sam, to our mates who support Arsenal, and I've always defended him because I like him. Obviously lived in Liverpool for a long time, and I knew a couple of people who knew him, and apparently he's a really good guy. But I've never had any ill will towards Arsenal ever until he said that. And when he said that, I was like, you know what? You're an idiot.
And then he said that they were the best team in the game yesterday. Did you see Luis Enrique's reaction? He just laughed. And then, so they said, Mikel Arteta said that they were the better team over the two, like in the game today. And he went, did he? Like that. And he went, well, ultimately, football's about scoring goals, and we scored more goals than them. Like,
that was dead.
I'm just like, okay, you can say you're a better team, things like that.
It's actually what Thierry Henry said in the commentary as well, because they were giving some stats like Arsenal had 17 shots, they'd had 11. And Thierry's like, so what? You got to score them. They didn't score. They did. They're better. Like, shut up with the stats. Like that's part of the game.
Stats, you know, like you can who's got more possession, you can pass it along your back line all day long. Like you can and get that. You can win that stat quite easily playing short balls and sideward balls. But yeah, I don't know what's going to happen. I think if he tails off in the Premier League now, which I don't think they will. I think they'll come out and
it's a good time to be playing us, obviously. Like, you know, we're right. So it's a good time to be playing Liverpool. We've won now. I mean, they'll probably rotate the squad again. There won't be any fire. People won't want to get injured. You know,
I don't know. You know, mate. I think this might be our last big game of the season. I think because there's so much talk from clowns who are like, "Oh, it's the worst team to ever win a Premier League."
I hope you're right, by the way.
I hope
you're right.
I think they'll try and put a marker down, like, all right, let's not just win it, let's kick them in the head while we win it. You know, I don't think they'll go easy, especially with the starting 11 in this next game.
Predictions. So. It's a tough game to predict. I'm going to go Liverpool 2-1.
Go on, I'll go with that.
Yeah, do you know what? It's not going to be like a 4-5-1 thing, is it?
So I tend to agree with you as well, because I think they'll be a bit pissed off that they let, you know, we were a bit lackadaisical against Chelsea.
Yeah, we were terrible against Chelsea. One of our worst performances of the year.
Yeah.
Kind of understandable.
So you don't want to go to the end of the season losing. You don't want to get in that habit, do you?
Well, I'd love us to get into 90 points land, you know, so we can properly say that as a 90-point. There's not many that have done that ever. And so
you don't want your season to peter out and then just say we've done it. Because it's like saying that's acceptable.
Yeah, agreed.
And that's when you've got to say this is not acceptable.
You lose momentum too.
Yeah, because when you lose 3 or something like that, people start thinking, are we as good as we thought we were? And you've got to be going in next season, because I look at it, you've got a chance to assert a dominance and go back to back, like really, because City are not quite there. I think they'll be better.
Let's see after the summer.
Definitely. I think Villa could be better after the summer. We'll see who they keep, who they get. Newcastle, I think, will be. Again, around all that. And listen, if Arsenal put a striker in their team, if they go and get an Osimhen or someone like that, Arsenal will be a better side.
You know what? Arsenal should try and bring Ivan Toney back.
Nah, he's finished now. You can't go. You know the two I'd buy? If you're not going, and I would buy them as a pair, I'd buy them for Man United. I would buy them together, Mbeumo and Wissa from Brentford. I think they're two very, very good strikers that gonna get you.
And they wouldn't really break the bank.
No, you get your 20 goals a year,
And they'll
both
get
of
better
them.
service.
Both will probably be happy coming in and out. So I think them two would be a brilliant signing for someone.
What do you think about your prediction from last week? Kevin De Bruyne to Liverpool.
It's broken
It's broken.
in somewhere saying that Liverpool are looking at Kevin De Bruyne. I would also, if I was Arsenal, I would be looking at him
100%.
because to rotate him and Odegaard.
Who wouldn't want him on their team, even if he just gives you 30 minutes, the last bit of the game? I mean,
That's what I think.
But-
And I
but
just
the-
think just
the
bringing him
thing is,
into a
boys,
side.
is that for clubs like Liverpool and Arsenal, De Bruyne is going to want 250 a week, probably, maybe more.
I don't.
And-
Maybe not. Who
I
knows?
don't know, but they won't be paying a fee for him either. Tom.
Yeah, you got to remember, not paying a fee for him.
I know, but still, if we're talking about
Give him a
he'll
year.
come off for the last
Give him 2
30
years,
minutes.
Well, I mean, if he's $1 million a month, do you give him 12 for a year? Is he worth 12 for a
Of
year?
course. You'd say if you were going to go and sign him,
Yeah,
you'd
he
pay
probably
40
is.
for him,
Yeah,
wouldn't you?
yeah. That's a good point. He probably is, but I don't know. Like for teams that
Probably get it
For
back in
cheap.
You'd probably get it back in shirt sales
Easy.
that's
in the first week.
Easy.
Yeah.
It's a no-brainer. You give him I bet he'd go and get 300 grand.
And he was a Liverpool fan as a kid, wasn't he? His idol was Michael Owen, of all people.
Is that right?
I think it'll be a big miss from some of the Premier League clubs.
I
not
was
taking
gutted
him.
when he left, by the way, So that was one where I was gutted when he left.
Michael Owen?
Michael Owen, yeah. First time. Yeah, well, the only time he left.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was gutted with that.
So the race for the top top 5 is still heated up. I've got to
Go
say,
on.
Chelsea looking good,
They
good
are,
nick
yeah.
at the minute. They're
Share about Notts Forest. They seem to have.
I think they're gonna.
Figure
Like,
it out.
I was the one. I thought they were the ones that
We're
were going to be there, but it doesn't look like it.
Unfortunately, not.
We've got City are 3 points behind Arsenal. Then you got on 64, Newcastle 63, Chelsea 63, and then you got Forest 61, Villa 60. There's still a lot of games to go.
And
Well, a
then
few
they
games
all
to
on
go,
the
but-
same games, Sam.
Yeah, all on the same games now. So Villa are 3 points off. Forest are 2 points off. But I think there's still... Remember, Forest and Chelsea play each other on the last game of the season as well.
Do they?
I think it's... Is it Chelsea-Newcastle this week?
Wait, who played each other? Forest and who?
Yeah, Newcastle-Chelsea this week.
Wow.
That goes and draws, or one of them loses. There's a big swing there as well.
This bit of is probably one of the more compelling Premier.
Yeah.
For you saying it's the worst Premier League.
Well, this bit is good. Like, look, the top was done ages ago. The bottom was done ages ago. There's nothing.
Yeah,
And even in between, all that is complete dead. It's just this. This is good though. I've got to say.
Yeah, this is great.
I'd love to see Villa. I really would love to see them. I don't. It looks
Who
like they're
did
going
you
to
say
miss out.
Forest played the last game of the season?
Chelsea.
Oh, really? Okay. Okay, yeah.
Warming up nicely.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, yeah. I hope Forest do get in, but I've said for a while I just don't think they have it.
Ran out of steam.
I don't think they have it. And if they do get in, I think they'll suffer next season for it.
Yeah.
In a similar way to what Amorim's talking about with United, I think if they get in Champions League, their Premier League form will suffer for it next year. They just don't have the squad. They don't. It's like what Newcastle did last year, Villa did this year. Villa are better than Villa should be in the top 4 right now.
So I think next year is going to be a hell of a season. I think we'll see a much close. I think City will get better.
I don't think they
Arsenal
will.
buy a striker.
I don't think City will.
I think they will. They're just proven too many times that that's what they do for me. And this whole league is deeper, and I just feel like those teams are going to get better. They'll improve over the summer. And will we still have the hunger having done it? I hope so.
We have to, otherwise
I know
we're
we do, but
we're not a great team if we don't.
that's a big. I think that's the big question of this Liverpool team is, will they do what the Uniteds did under Alex Ferguson? Can he do that, and can they keep that same hunger and desire and tenacity?
Is Chiesa on loan?
No, they bought
No.
him. I think.
They bought him.
Yeah,
He's
11 million, was it? think it was 11.
He's on a ton as well a week.
He just hasn't played at all.
He's played one game. I think
He
played
was
the
he
game
was
that we
never
lost.
going to go. He was never going to play a lot.
But no, but he's played 5 games. He just got his fifth.
Did
He
he
got his
get his
fifth
fifth?
game against Chelsea. They brought him on. Fifth
So
appearance.
he gets his medal.
So he's only made 5 appearances in the Premier League.
Well, in the Premier League, yeah, he's played a bit in Europe. He played in the clubs and stuff, but he's so flat. I mean,
they'll get rid of him.
I have no idea what's going to happen.
He'll go
rid of Jota as well.
Jota do need a freshen up.
You know what? I think Jota goes. I think Nunes goes.
Yeah.
Nunes should not be anywhere near a Liverpool team.
Unfortunately. Because I do like him. Just don't like his
I like him. I like him just because he's a bit of a nutcase. But
yeah, exactly.
He's so fucking frustrating.
Exactly.
Like he should have scored that header against Chelsea.
Yeah, agreed.
You know, we talk about how poor Liverpool were against Chelsea.
He would. He'd probably.
He was. We had him, didn't we? You took him off us.
Thrive at a place like where he hasn't got that massive expectation and
he
pressure.
Plays every week.
And he plays every week, and he's probably more relaxed.
The fan base would like him because of what he is.
Because he's a nutter.
Yeah. Who is?
I said he'd be a good player for West Ham, Nunes.
Oh, you think so?
Yeah, I think so.
I do. I think the weight of expectation
we had him
will be
originally, but you took him from us. We dithered. And Alvarez.
Really?
At City. And Cole Palmer. West Ham recruitment team doing well again.
Apparently they had Lionel Messi as well, Chris.
So actually, I'm going to break this, but I got told on very, very, very good grounds from the horse's mouth that if it was offered to him, Jose Mouriniho would take West Ham.
Wow.
I mean,
I can't say where it came from, but it was guaranteed that if it was bought there, and I do think he is. I said it before. All of these, I'd love.
They should break
Jose.
the bank for him. That would be amazing.
Because he is the man that would get the fan base.
Well,
he could play the underdog better than anyone.
He'd love the challenge. He's done
now?
everything, hasn't he? So the challenge of making them into a great side, I think he would relish. It's in London.
Wants to be in London.
I mean, honestly, that's probably maybe.
It's a match made in heaven. The fan base and him.
Because he's won everything.
Because he will come out and say this is fucking shit. And West Ham fans will go, yeah. I don't think the owners will ever go with him.
They should.
Okay, Sam. So then let's
break the bank for him.
Mourinho. What clubs are West Ham looking to emulate in the next 3 or 4 years?
The problem we've got, Tone, is we've got our model. It's how can we work with our structure, and we've got one of the worst training grounds in the whole of England. It's at League One level. So you've got to be able to have someone that can work with that. You've got the budget. You've got to have the owner. Who's buying the players? You've got the owner. You've got other people. You've got this mishmash. So unfortunately, we can't have a plan like a Brighton or Brentford or Bournemouth or someone like that because
but then
they won't allow it. So that we're basically
who won't allow the ownership?
Yeah, well, it's never been like that. So that's why David Moyes is so undertalked of how he worked with all that. Yeah. Because what you got to remember, Moyes was given players like Ben Rama, like Danny Ings that he didn't want. So they're out, they're yours. Skamaka, Haller. If you'd have let Moyes buy his own players, now the catch side is Moyes apparently really dithered on the signing and wanted to watch him play 35 times without. That's why we lost Nunes, why we lost Alvarez, why we lost others. So they couldn't just wait for him all the time. But the problem with West Ham, because of this,
dictated to like that. Do you think Mourinho would be dictated to like that? Like this is the player you're getting. I don't think that would.
No, but I think that could be the person that breaks the mold of when he'll sit in a news conference and say, "I'm not having this."
That would be one of the biggest.
But Sullivan would just sack him
of all time.
It will open the gates at West Ham, and that's why it won't ever happen.
But you guys have also got the history, the heritage. You've got the prestige. There's a history with West Ham that if they were in the top,
huge fan base.
That's what I'm saying. Like if you were in the top four, you'd fit in the top four. You know, do you know what I mean?
Like, if it was in like top six, we got games to get to Europe. But what Mourinho does the best is he's an underdog. So you could come in. And we are the underdogs. We are West Ham. We're fighters. We're this. He would say the exact things to have people eating at his hand. until it went completely sour, and then it'll go really bad.
If that is even a hint of an option, the owners should break the bank.
I do,
because it would increase everything.
Having Jose Mouriniho there,
the knock-ons. It would elevate the whole club, the perception of the club. The players that you'd be able to attract who'd want to play under him.
I think what we've got to do now, because we've had two.
Great. Short term, it'd be great. Long term, I think it'd be terrible.
Yeah, exactly. But what we got to do right now, this minute, we got to look short term a little bit, because we are going down next year. So that is.
I think that's a little bit dramatic. I don't think.
Have a look at our results.
I know. You've been terrible.
And we are in relegation for. It's only the fact that the three below us are the poorest three the Premiership's ever seen. We haven't got 40 points, Tone.
No, I know. Listen, I know you've been terrible, but West
Ham sit on 37 points. Yeah. Like, we are in relegation. We've won 9 games all season. We haven't won in 7.
I'm not saying that you're a good team. I'm saying that you're a bigger football club than to look short term. I think because West Ham, listen.
Hang on. Why would it be bad long term? That's the sort of thing that can change the trajectory of a whole club.
Because he's never been good long term, Jose. No, never mind now. Even when he's young. Fair.
But imagine, the higher they are, the more money, the better players they can buy. I mean, that's what people don't. I think underestimate.
They're notoriously bad at buying
Not to go back about Liverpool, Tone, but the thing, Jurgen Klopp added billions to Liverpool's value, billions in what he did.
Yeah,
and he's now created a platform that we can. Oh, he's gone. So where have you gone? Shit!
I'll have to fill up the coach.
Have you been drinking wine in between there? So, and I think that's something that Jose Mourinho could do with if he was to go, he could elevate it to a point where it's everything. Get the better training ground, get more money in. I mean,
that's not what West Ham do. That's why they
but it's what we should do.
No, I know.
And that's why we're so frustrated as fans.
I should do a lot of things that I don't do. If I don't do them, I don't do them.
Otherwise, you stick with old Meek Potter, this clown of a man. Do you know what this prick? Talk about not understand the fan base of what West Ham want. Last week, I hope Tottenham go on and win the Europa Cup. Yeah,
Jesus.
Mate. Fuck off. They should take his head off and put it on top of the ground for saying that. That is like, talk about not knowing your fan base. Yeah. That was him done on that word.
Talking about fan base.
I didn't know he said that. I didn't know he said that.
How many more people watch to see how he does?
Yeah, and him going mad.
Well, you'd have people tuning in who aren't West Ham fans, or that will create West Ham fans. I mean, it would just be such...
Listen, again.
I look at Fenerbahce because of him.
Yeah, you want to see what's going on. He's compelling. He's box office. You've got to do that. If that's on the table, they'd have to...
So anyway, right, we're finishing here. The
on that
bombshell.
Yeah.
Fellas, I've got to go and do some work. Chris has got to go and play some golf. And Tony's got to go and drink some booze. Yeah. We'll be drinking tomorrow as well, won't we?
You bet your
me and Chris are going drinking all day tomorrow. And then we're all together Monday. We're doing.
I'll be there on Monday.
A show all together. We got old Drunky the Bear with us on Monday.
We'll open a nice bottle.
Yeah.
At 9 o'clock.
See you later, all. Take care.
Up the Reds.
Arsenal fans.
Up the Reds.